Welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at some means of driving bits and sockets from Felo that they put out. So I thought these were interesting. These are basically a nice T-handle that has 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2 inch drivers on them, and these are really handy for things because you can really get torque on these. The 1/2 inch seems like a little ridiculous because, you know, if you go with a 3/4 socket, are you really going to get the torque you need to get a 1/2 inch fastener tight? Not necessarily, but if you're assembling things, you can get a little extra torque on something and just be kind of quick about it. You could put this on, twirl it in, give it a little bit of a set, and you could assemble things nice and quick that way. So assembling is something that would be really handy for something like this. Same thing with the 3/8. You can get, you know, any 3/8 socket you have, you can put on these things. So that's kind of cool. The 1/4 inch, as you would expect, same thing. And something like the 1/4 and the 3/8, you probably could actually get your finished torque or tighten on these things and have them that you can finish. But I don't know that you would with the 1/2 inch, but it would be great for assembling. Now, to go along with the 1/4 inch, this one, there is also a screwdriver handle style of a driver, which is pretty nice. And, you know, same thing, throw your socket on there and you've now made a nut driver. These things have been around for a long time. There's various versions out there. You can go as fancy as one of these hand tool rescue ones that are fancy wood handles, or you can go to something more old school, like this old school Craftsman one that actually has, it doubles as an extension, so you can throw a ratchet on the end of it. There's many versions of these things around out there. Along with the screwdriver style, they have this 1/4 inch hex collet, which is really nice. This is a locking collet, and it is designed to hold your regular 1/4 inch tips that have either the strike mark in them or the tips that have a hollowed out body. That would be how they lock in. So how that looks, just like that. Release the tab, pull the bit out. Same goes for this Phillips. Push the collet up and it locks on there. So if you're looking to just take a bunch of bits into work and you can fit this clunkier collet into everywhere that you're working, you could really have a lot of screwdrivers and one handle. And these handles, this one's the same thing. They're very nice. They have this foamy grip to them. It's their ergonomic line, and they thought ahead on some of this. They didn't do it on this one, but you can even throw a wrench on the bottom of this and get a little extra out of it. So pretty nice. They do hold this style, your standard impact style bit, but they aren't as tight. There's a little bit of slop in them. It's not egregious, but it is there. And if you're using it a lot, it may or may not be something that is annoying to you. But if you can see here, it's not an excessive amount of run out, but it does have some run out. So that's the fixed shank driver. There's also a flexible shank that they make, which is interesting. I'm curious to see how this comes in handy for things, or if it's not what I think it's going to be. I do think this with a straight blade is a little bit more of a laughable thing. I don't think you're going to go around a corner and drive a straight blade. I don't think that's going to happen. But same as the other, except this one has a magnet in it. You can hear when I push that in, it snaps in. So there's a magnet in there. The Phillips one, same thing, snaps in. There you have your Phillips driver and our test Torx. Now the Torx, because of the magnet, this style, it does pull out, but the magnet holds it kind of fast, so it's not, the tip can't fall out, and the magnet holds it tight into the collet. So that's a little bit better collet than this one in that regard, if you're using your standard impact style quick disconnect 1/4 inch bits. As far as the screwdriver tip style for everything, both of these are great. I wouldn't rag on them, they still both lock. So it's just kind of one of those things, if that little bit extra slop is going to be annoying to you, just be aware of it. The quality of these collets is very nice. If we take a look at it here, they have some nice knurling on them for that grip. The action of them is nice. All it's doing is there's a ball detent in there, and it lets that ball detent move in and out. This one here, the flex tip, same basic collet driver. You have your nice knurling, and then you have your ball detent right there, that when you move the collar, the ball detent moves in and out. And this one, you can see down inside there, there's your magnet. So I thought this was an interesting idea. Could be a little bit gimmicky with the flex head, and I don't know if you start torquing on it, if the flex head's just gonna kind of want to twist on you. But we're talking screws. We're not talking putting a 3/4 inch socket on this thing and laying into it. We're talking fasteners, smaller style fasteners, and convenience of driving. So I think that might be something that is just unique, and it's one of those tools that if you have one in your rotation or your stuff and you need it that one time, it'll get you there. So kind of interesting. I'll be curious to see if that bails me out at some point or is frustrating. Let me know in the comments if you have one of these, if it's a gimmick, if it's worked well for you, or if it is indeed frustrating. This does have the same hex stuff, but it looks like the crimp pattern, so I don't know if I would really want to torque on that very heavily. And that's okay. I don't think the idea of any of these screwdriver handled tools is really high torque. The T-handles are a little bit more mid torque for you, but I see these more in the case of quick installation. That's where these are going to be handy, because you can take this and just do a quick twirl with it, you know, do the finger twirl, do whatever you want to do. That's where these are really going to excel, assembling things kind of quickly. So I thought they were neat options, something that's out there. I'm always intrigued by these new things. They do have rubberized handles. The yellow parts are hard plastic on everything here. This we talked about has that like foam feel inside of it, so that's unique. I don't know if it's a foam or what they have in there, but I have seen a cutaway of it. Maybe we'll put it here or down here, and there's some sort of membrane inside there, which it is a decent feeling grip, to be honest with you. It's not It favors more of your round style grip. It's not tri-lobed or anything like that. It's pretty symmetrically round. It sort of has 6 surfaces on it, but it really doesn't. It's, you get here, it's round. So either way, I think they're pretty interesting drivers, and be cool to throw them in the rotation and see how they hold up. I'm curious about these handles. The rubber seems like it's decent on them, so I think they'll hold up pretty well. This one, I got it, it's got some marks in it already, but I'm not going to get upset about that. It's a tool. We're going to use it, probably get more marks in it, and I think that is from shipping. One of these others was into it, so not a big deal. The ball for setting the sockets is pressed in there nicely. I don't think that's going to fail. There's a nice ledge around here for the socket to land on the T-handle. You can see right there, that is firmly pressed against that ledge. That holds true for the 3/8 as well. Nicely pressed in ball with the spring in it and everything, and you have that ledge that the socket pushes up against, and they have that taper there to kind of transition into your socket size. Then you have your 1/2 inch, same idea, really nicely set in, pressed in, spring-loaded ball, and you have that flat right there for the socket to land on. Sets nicely. So if you're pushing on your sockets or anything like that, there's a firm stop. They have that transition there to just kind of make use of it kind of nice and consistent. So I think the craftsmanship is pretty nice on these. They are made in Germany, every single one of them here. They're all made in Germany. And take a look at the 1/4 inch screwdriver style here. That one does not have that flat, and it has the tapered style that is kind of common on some tools. So it still lands on something, but not as firmly as this flat that you see here for this one. So if you compare the two, that's 2 different styles of doing it there, but all the same, nicely pressed in spring ball, and it holds the socket very well. The 1/4 inch has a square on the back of the handle to identify, if you have it in a bag, which one it is. And then these two have the same marking, so you wouldn't know if you had them both in your bag. You would not know which one's which, but they do show that it is hex driver. So I thought we'd take a quick look at these. I find tools like this very interesting. I like having as many options as possible in the arsenal to try and get something done. So this gives us a little bit more versatility with things where I try and get away from hand driving things as I get older, but there's still a convenience factor with having that option, and having tools that like these that set. You can get regular nut driver style tools for these bits, but they're almost always just magnetic, and the tips can fall out, and that just can be frustrating. So nice to see some locking collets. They're reasonably slim, but they do have some extra sizing to them, so they're not quite as compact as some others are. But we'll see how these hold up and work for us here in the shop. Now, the T-handles I think these are going to be really handy, because there's something to be said for just getting your hand in something like this and being able to twist. I've always liked T-handle Allens for terminating or something like that, where you don't want to go overboard with torque. You want to get everything set and then go into it with the proper torquing tools, but having that T-handle to just get in there and turn, that you don't have that Allen wrench or something like that in your hand, is really handy. And you could of course drive Allen sockets with these T-handles, which is kind of the best of both worlds. If you're going to carry your Allen sockets anyway, have one of these in your bag and use your Allen sockets. You don't necessarily have to use your Allen wrenches to do terminating. So things like that, I see a good use for these in that context. I could also see if you're assembling something with a lot of fasteners in it and you just need to spin them together and get everything kind of set, this would be pretty quick. It is nice to be able to throw something on a powered ratchet nowadays or something like that, but you don't have that feedback if a fastener is starting to cross thread or doesn't feel quite right. Sometimes you need that input from the old hands to tell you, hey, this isn't right. So let me know what your thoughts are. I kind of like these. I've seen these around for a while, and I actually stumbled on these when I was looking up these, so that turned into getting more to look at. But there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to give them a try and see how they hold up. If you have them, let me know what you think. Did they hold up well for you, or did you have trouble with the rubber on the handles? Did they rip at some point? How does it all work for you? Do you really like them? Have they held up well? How long have you had them? All those fun facts. It really helps out people who are reading the comments below to see if there's something that they want to get into as well. So as always, thanks for watching, and have a great day.